Hi, I'm Kevin Matthews, Scottish film fan living in England, and this week I I have Craig to thank. Whether or not I like the movie he picked this week remains to be seen, but I got to watch a movie on my shelf for a long time, as it has been on Craig's, and that is kind of what the podcast is about sometimes.
I'm Dave Gray, and this week I learned some things never change, and I respect that deeply. T, you keep teeing along, no matter
Hashtag
no
never
matter
change.
no matter how much it makes me cry on the inside and the outside. On my neighbor, who I've only met once before, she's walking home with her groceries. You know.
I'm Tyler Hosley, and I'm going to start this introduction a little differently today, guys. I was standing in line at Universal just like a couple hours ago, actually, at King Kong. Started randomly talking to a group of people that I had no idea who they were, but they started talking to me, and we started talking about music. And the question came up: what's one band that you love, but you fucking hate a song that they made? That was a question. But
Oh, well, there's a bunch. Like, I adore Aerosmith. That's my '90s self, but I absolutely hate, and I've always hated. Dude looks like a lady, and what else? There's a few others later in their catalog. I abhor.
Armageddon, you like the Armageddon song?
No, the Armageddon song's fucking great.
Yeah, it is.
I
Really
don't
good.
like
I love the
Armageddon, but
song.
the song is fucking great. Did you ever play what was it? Which one was it? Saints Row, I think 4.
Yeah,
It starts where you're riding a missile to that song, and it is fucking fantastic. That
yeah, that was
song
pretty amazing.
is great. I don't care for the movie it's in, but the song fits so many things.
Yeah, I was gonna say that song is really. But I'm also a fan of the movie. But that song is amazing. That might be one of Aerosmith's best songs, actually, in my opinion.
It's a fun one.
Well,
But yeah,
my answer was I love Disturbed. Like I love that band, but I fucking hate Sounds of Silence. I hate Sounds of Silence, but I do love Disturbed.
that's funny. I hate Disturbed and that cover. That cover is one of my least favorite things on earth.
I mean, that song is just awful in general, but I hate their cover. But I do love Disturbed.
I don't love Foo Fighters, but I do enjoy Foo Fighters, and I cannot stand Learn to Fly. It aggravates the shit out of me. It is deeply wet Bon Jovi type shit, and I hate it a lot.
It is. Oh, I've got a better one. I love Bob Dylan, but I fucking hate his Christmas album. I fucking hate it.
Well, first of all, Tyler, did you say I will mention this on a podcast I co-host and give them links?
I did. I said I was part of Raiders of the Podcast, and I gave them the Instagram page. So you might be getting a couple likes.
Well, you don't have cards in your wallet that you hand out in the queue.
No, unfortunately, I do not.
Like the American Psycho dude. Just Reserve podcast.
In that case, I'm really odd with my musical tastes. It's sort of hit and miss for a lot, but I certainly went through a phase when I was younger. I kind of like classic surf music, the Beach Boys and stuff, and I'm not a big fan of. Is it Little Saint Nick? Their Christmas surf tune. You shouldn't have a Christmas surf tune.
No,
Yeah,
I agree.
It's the Little Saint Nick.
Saint Nick. Yeah, I'm not. And I mean, this was even before I'd heard kind of.
Run, reindeer. Damn it! Now it's in my fucking head.
Stop it. But this was before I'd really heard even sort of I think Pet Sounds and stuff. I had an album of like classic surf hits because I was cool as a young teen, and it was all the good stuff, and then Little Saint Nick was also still on there. I'm like, what's this shit? Not a fan. So, a bit of an odd one, but that's the one that stands out for me.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's me, isn't it?
Yep.
I am Craig Pay, English film nerd living in England, and tonight's the night. Tonight's the night where either I get the sweep, or we have everything we need to have Tyler put away for a long, long time. Get the help that he needs. So it's exciting times. And welcome to Raiders of a Podcast.
Yay!
What did I watch? I watched a documentary on Netflix. Netflix documentaries have really been going down the toilet lately. I was surprised to catch such a good one, and I don't even have a title here, so I'm just calling it Twisters. It's about a twister. It's about a tornado. Lots of I can't remember where the town was, but it was just completely destroyed in a tornado, and we got some pretty hairy fucking footage filmed on people's phones, and first-hand accounts of people who were literally pulled out of their cars and were inside tornadoes and lived. And it gets a bit cheesy at times, but like when these people are talking about what they went through, it's just the most terrifying shit I've ever heard in my life. I didn't know that you could be carried away by a tornado and live, but apparently so if you get real lucky. But that's a really solid, like, 3-minute horror show on Netflix right now. I'll give that a go. Did anyone get to that yet?
I have not.
I recommend it.
No, that is going to scar me. I already got to watch one scarring documentary this month.
I believe Vicky watched it after seeing either yourself or Stephanie post about it, and I think she was quite impressed by it as well.
Yeah, it's something. It's something to experience it through grainy phone camera footage. I just cannot begin to imagine. There's just several people throughout the documentary just they just state, and that's when I just decided I was going to die and just let go. And it's a rough watch, but very, very good.
I mean, it's a lot rougher if Netflix ever released it in 4DX. I mean, you're just ejected through the cinema, terrified and clinging onto your seat.
Oh God, I still remember 4DX. I went to the weirdest film for 4DX. I never went once. The 2016 Blair Witch, and it was just like spraying me in the face with pine scent, and I thought, this is not improving my viewing of this movie whatsoever. It's horrible.
Wait, they really did that?
Yeah.
That's fucking amazing.
When the drone was going up, my seat was going up, and they sprayed the pine scent, and then later it was raining, and they just sprayed water in my face, and I thought, this has never been necessary before, and it's not necessary now.
There's nothing amazing about that movie, T.
Oh no, I'm not talking about the movie. I just want to be sprayed in the face with pine. Just that sounds awesome.
I mean, yeah, that does sound like a you thing. So, all right, rock on.
And then it was Stephanie's, my lady wife's birthday on Wednesday. So this has been a tradition for like the last my wife's birthday. Watch Saltburn, because she's a bit obsessed with Saltburn. We watched it again. This is the most I've always enjoyed it, but this is the most I enjoyed it because I did something really, really impressive. I switched off my phone and gave it my full attention, and it's just a blast. What's the director's name? Somebody help me out.
Is it Emerald Fennell or
Emerald Fennell?
Yeah.
Fennell.
I like her a great deal because she seems to like exclusively annoy snobs who, I don't think she's taking her career that seriously. I think she's just trying to make quite camp and entertaining films. And there's a type of film snob who decided she wants to just, wreck everything that they love, and they get quite angry with her, which I enjoy. But Saltburn's just kind of a silly camp take on, the Servant and Ripley, and it's just really well done. I love the cast top to bottom. I think they're fantastic, and it is, in my opinion, one of the best looking films of the past decade. It is staggeringly beautiful at points, just absolutely gorgeous. So I really like Saltpan. It's just super entertaining. I noticed that Kevin gave it quite a good score on Letterboxd. I know Kevin likes it.
And I was watching it while Vicky had a nap, and then he woke up for the last scene, and I'm like, it's not all been like that. The spidey sense must have been tingling, and she's like, oh.
And then this has sort of become a tradition as well that we watch not a specific film, but we watch a Japanese film that has weird fantasy elements and is weird. So last year we followed Saltburn up with Hiroku the Goblin, and this year we followed up with House, which Stephanie decided she loved earlier in the year. So that's going to be a birthday favourite, and House is still completely insane and wonderful, and just out of its goddamn mind. So funny. Again, really, really beautifully shot. It's a stunning looking film, and it's just wonderful. We all know House is wonderful. We covered it back in the day, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah. We all have that one. And then last, I watched Across 110th Street, the blaxploitation flick from sometime in the 70s. And that was an absolute
72.
fucking beast of a movie. 72? That was fucking phenomenal. Yeah. That was, I don't think, one thing blaxploitation films don't get enough credit for, I think, is they were really early adopters of handheld shooting and these new ways of filmmaking, and they just made really goddamn handsome looking films. And this one, it just gets right in the middle of everything, and it's just everything feels so authentic and alive and frenetic. It's a great fucking movie with fantastic performances. There's almost like too much good stuff in it, because you could Anthony Quinn's character, his relationship with Yaphet Kotto's character, that could do like you could do a 4-season TV show out of that. But it's all packed into this real dense hour and a half of just brilliance. It really is a fucking beast of a movie. I can't wait to watch that again whenever Dave picks it for the podcast, because I know he was planning to.
I am. It's coming.
Yes, can't wait to watch it again, because it's fucking great, and Yaphet Kotto rule. And that's me for the week.
I didn't watch shit for movies this week, like absolutely nothing, but I started watching The Mayans, which I'm really digging so far. I love Sons of Anarchy, one of my favorite shows, but I just never got to The Mayans, which is weird. But yeah, I'm digging it so far. Love the cast. Really, really good lead character. It's got all the vibes of Sons of Anarchy, so if you like that, I'm sure you'll like this. But yeah, just a super, super light week for me.
I also had a light week because my weekend was fucking insane. Then my week continued to be insane. So the only I only got 3 extra watches in. I watched because I think Sunday. No. Last week, but because I was running around, I couldn't do it then. But last week was the birthday of both Mako Keiji and the amazing John Aston. So this week I got around to watching Female Prisoner Scorpion, Jailhouse 41, which we have covered before on the podcast, and it is a movie I absolutely love and adore. You should watch all of the Female Prisoner. Well, you should at least watch the first 3 Female Prisoner Scorpion films. The 4th one is it's not bad, don't get me wrong. It's just not as good. And when the first 3 are that good, not as good, I mean, it's fine. It's perfectly okay. But a big step down. And it's just kind of like, oh. And I watched Return of the Killer Tomatoes, another movie that we've covered on this podcast in the past that I love. I did watch a 3rd feature, but I can't tell you about it because I will be talking about it with John on And Now for Something a Little Bit Different this weekend.
John invited me on
Nice.
sometime soon. Yeah, I said
we-
give it a couple of months because I would like to give a couple of months solid to my own podcast without, being thoroughly unreliable.
Yay! We're
You
gonna
guys,
talk.
you guys come first.
Aw. We're gonna talk about Slide, the newest Limp tune. I have thoughts.
Was that you, Dave?
That's me. Yes. Oh, I just remembered I watched 2 other movies, but I'm gonna make you guys watch them, so I'm gonna keep them close to my vest. They went right onto my list because we haven't seen enough cheesy 80s sci-fi movies.
Well, I'll start with a mention of TV. Tyler mentioned the Mayans, and Vicky and I were deciding on what we would watch next together. She fancied a rewatch of Sons of Anarchy. I've never seen it. We're about 4 episodes in, and all I know is that Charlie Hunnam walks through every door like he's belting into a saloon to complain about how the Uber driver brought him the wrong barrel of hops. And that's what I've got from it so far.
That does not change. You could have watched Homicide: Life on the Street for the first time, but no. Instead, you're
Dave,
rewatching y'all.
I don't.
Charlie Hunnam's
you-
beauty cut papers over any cracks. He can be as bad an actor as he likes. He looks like he does, and
Yeah.
that's that.
But he's a very bad actor.
I don't care.
You can see his scene partners, who are very good actors, in pain every time they have to act against him, especially when it gets really, really soapy. Like, I never thought I'd weep openly for Ron Perlman, but I do every time I have to watch that show.
Well, Ron Perlman provides a nice segue here. Not personally. He's not like in my house waiting to provide segues. But I also this week finally watched Hellboy: The Crooked Man because it went onto Prime Video here in the UK. And I think most people saw the first trailer for Hellboy: The Crooked Man and thought, what's that shit that looks like it was made for £10? Why are they trying to sell me this as Hellboy? And then there might be another trailer that made people think, well, it could be alright. It's, needing to keep things fairly low key and low budget, but we'll see. And then there were some mixed reviews, but it kind of disappeared. I'm going to say it was better than I thought it would be, but we kind of still definitely miss Ron Perlman as Hellboy. Like, I think he was the best fit for the character. I'm only going about how I know the character, which isn't yet from any of the comic books, really. It is from the movie world. But what works well for this one is it kind of feels like a one-shot comic, and it does stay pretty focused on a supernatural tale, a strongly supernatural tale, which is, it wasn't too bad, really. It was quite enjoyable, if hampered by the limitations of the budget and some of the cast members. I can't remember if any of you guys have seen that yet.
I have.
Me and T saw
No.
it, yeah.
Oh,
I have.
Uh,
Hot take. I think it's the best Hellboy movie we've gotten so far. It's the most
sorry,
accurate.
we've lost T there. What were you
No,
gonna
we
say,
didn't,
Dave?
because I agree with him. He's absolutely correct.
Yeah,
He's
I think-
right.
Yeah. I think it's by far the most accurate portrayal of Hellboy that we've gotten. I mean, I like the Ron Perlman movies as just like fun, like comic book movies, but that's not Hellboy. It's Ron Perlman in red makeup and Del Toro making a Del Toro movie. But the new one feels like Hellboy.
Yep. I think the only problem with the new one is the opening scene, which is not in the comic. But besides that, it's pretty fairly close. It's a good adaptation of one of the better Hellboys.
The opening scene with the spider stuff.
Yeah, that's new. In the comic, Hellboy gets there because he's just fucking around.
All right, it is
He's
adapting
just
a main comic story.
it is, yeah. He's just on a hike and he just stumbles into it.
I mean, I kind of like the spider stuff, even though I'm not a big fan of spiders. I thought that was all right. But that's good to hear that others have liked it even more than I did. I do agree that the Hellboy movies previously, I can see why I'd feel more like Del Toro movies. They very much are, but I still think Perlman's a great fit in the makeup and for the look.
Perlman
Yeah.
looks great, but his Hellboy is nothing like Hellboy, and that's my problem with them.
Right.
He's good. He does what they want really well, but he's not Hellboy.
Fair enough. I'm
I
guessing...
like David Harbour, but I assume he's not very Hellboy either.
No, he's more Hellboy.
More than Perlman.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than Perlman.
Yeah, like that movie gets the essence of the character, but everything else around it is not good.
I watched The Last Video Store, which is a horror comedy made by people who seem to have made this story in various forms about 3 or 4 different times previously. So, yeah, you'd think they'd perfect it by now. They haven't. It's fun. It is decent. Basically, a young woman walks into a video store returning tapes on behalf of her father. One of them is a cursed video that when it's played, the characters or the world of some of the fictional movies within the movie that were shown start to bleed into the store. But luckily, the store clerk is a video geek, so knows what should be happening. And that is fun, but I kind of wanted a bit more from it. Like, there should be more. There just should be more like big puppets or tiny dolls or something that was, like little gremlins or critters type things that represented that particular fad. There should have been some cannibals, and there maybe should have been a Shannon Tweed cameo or something along those lines, because you have to encompass the whole world of the video store in its heyday. And that's just what it is. Hell, have David Duchovny pop up and just mention the Red Shoe Diaries. I would have done. But it's okay. It's very much in line with the sort of entertainment that was nicely represented in that Arrow video Enter the Video Store box set, which was fun stuff. And I watched the Rule of Jenny Penn. Did you get to this, Craig?
I did, yes. I liked it very much.
I mean, I liked it, but then it felt to me like it just sort of fizzled out a bit. Like I didn't feel satisfied by the ending, and then because that hadn't really worked for me, I did think the second half didn't really go anywhere. There were good moments, and both the leads do well together, really. But I was a little bit underwhelmed by it. Not sure if it will gain that coveted golden Kevin 7. But
it's just a shame John Lithgow died immediately after completing that.
I was going to say, I almost watched it.
We'll miss him.
Memorialize John Lithgow. I'm glad he got one last hurrah before he died.
Yeah.
And I think, last but not least, I can't recall if I mentioned last week that I'd finally watched Blue Beetle.
You did?
Oh, I did. All right. Well, that's fine. No need to mention Blue Beetle again.
I mean, you can mention it again. I remember, I believe you said you enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it. I just like the fact it wasn't people, having to blow up the world that we live in. It was just sort of nice small scale stakes, and the family messaging was nice. Did I already mention on the podcast that I watched Saturday night?
Yes,
You did.
Yeah, I did.
You gave, and
That's
I got to
just
talk shit about SNL, and it was. Yeah, you want to do it
that's
again? We
right. Yes,
can.
of course. I can never remember when you talking shit about stuff on the podcast, or it's just general. Oh no,
I'm,
I've prodded Dave accidentally while I was on my break at work, and now there's a 5-minute rant coming.
the rule of thumb is if I've done it in one place, I've done it in others, and you might just, yes.
That's fine. That I think I go. Oh no, I watched Grand Theft Hamlet. That's what I was thinking of.
Ah.
And I think if I remember it, you were a little bit so on it, Dave.
I was so like I think it's a neat idea. It just I don't know. There's just something about it that did not land for me. Like it just felt too. Instead of documenting like a neat thing that happened organically, it felt like they were desperate to make this a thing. And does that make sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
because I think I liked it a bit more than you, but it was definitely like, yeah, it definitely felt kind of more constructed and sort of very purposeful than just like it's
Yeah.
satisfying, and there were a couple of really good moments that explore what online gaming and online spaces meant to people during lockdown, and how they can really connect in ways that still feel meaningful to them. But I know that we would have both enjoyed it more if the I hate to keep using the phrase we use, but if it had more of that feeling of just folk, getting together, and what's the phrase you use, Dave? Like just
Let's
putting
put on a show. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I agree. 100%.
It kind of certainly lost that once you got past the opening gestation of the idea. But it's good. It's an interesting and impressive achievement overall as well. But as I say, it had those meaningful moments dotted throughout. But I kind of wanted more of that feeling that we love most, the Let's Put on a Show vibe, and it's a shame it didn't have that. So there, I remembered something I hadn't already mentioned. I'll take that as a win. That's me.
This week, we watched 2 films about sexy people doing sexy things. One without any kind of repercussions, and one with horrific repercussions. We saw the 1974 neo-western by Sam Peckinpah, Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, and the 2015 French drama by Eva Husson Bang Gang, a modern love story. Craig?
Me? I picked one of the films this week, so
Shit, I know.
Me or you, Dave? It's me or you?
I know. I forgot that we switched again.
I know. I know, Grandpa. Come on,
Kevin,
it's gonna be
Yes.
okay.
I'll remember. See, it takes me like 3-4 weeks to remember when we do a switch, and it happens every fucking time. Sorry. Do you want to pick a movie and tell us about it? Because
Sure.
I'm hoping you pick Bang Gang. Please pick Bang Gang.
I am picking Bang Gang. I want to rip the band-aid
Thank
off. Bang Gang, a modern love story, a film so memorable that I watched it in 2017, forgot I'd watched it, and none of it came back to me while I rewatched it in the past week. Like, at no point did I watch this and think, that's familiar. And I blame this entirely on Tyler numbing my mind with teen sex movies in a way that he's also numbed my mind with lesbian dramas. So I can watch either of those movies and not remember what I've watched, what even is reality, and what a normal, healthy attitude to sex is anymore. So, I mean, you just ruined my life, Tyler. I think once again, I got syphilis just watching your movie. It's a dangerous, dangerous time. The description, though, on IMDb says, in the well-to-do suburbs of a small town, a group of pretty average, well-adjusted 16 and 17-year-olds are ordinary adolescents who take a singular path. That just sounds rubbish. Basically, they get together and have sex parties, and yeah, there are no major consequences here. In my Letterboxd review, I said back in 2017, there's a point in Bang Gang when one character comments on the activities of another as being profoundly mediocre, which almost sums up the entire film. It's almost like a French extension of the world shown by Larry Clark in Kids. Brackets, although not nearly as bleak, the sex and debauchery here is more pleasant and elegant, even if it could lead to similar results. Close brackets. Not really gripping viewing, though. That's what I said then. And that really shows why Tyler would pick it for the podcast and why he would love it. Because obviously, this is, right in Tyler's wheelhouse. I just...
I don't mean to interrupt, but I do have a note here I want to share. Paradad is dead on. It is all so profoundly mediocre.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We really latched onto that.
Look, don't make this movie and have people say shit like that, okay? Have a little fucking self-awareness.
It's written and directed by Eva Husson, who is someone I don't think I've seen anything else from. Doesn't have a large filmography, but there are a couple of bits I'm sure we'll catch one day if Tyler makes us. The cast, they're okay. It's another one of those films where like I don't care about any of the characters. I would say nobody stands out, but that's not entirely fair because I did like one or two of the leads, and the fact that they all blur into one another is partly my fault as well. So I liked the girl who got with the guy and made the other girl jealous. Who was that again, Tyler?
George? Marilyn
Right.
Lima. Yeah.
Is it Marilyn
Wait.
Lima was the girl that got with him, or was she
No.
the jealous one?
Oh, she was the jealous
She
one.
was
Yeah,
the jealous one. You're
she was
talking
the jealous
about
one.
Leticia. That was Daisy
Yeah.
Broom.
Daisy Broom.
Yes. I liked her. Thank you. I forgot who was who between them. I did quite like the girl who played George, Marilyn Lima. She was fine. They certainly do better than the guys, I think, who either have to just wander about the screen living this lovely teen fantasy life on film, or mope around in a way that makes you want to slap them and say, why aren't you just loving this teen fantasy life on film? So that's their lot. Whereas the females get a little bit more, but I mean it's not by much. It's just because the guys are just given nothing. So it's so dull. I mean, Tyler, give us some exciting sex. I don't wish to utter that phrase to you every couple of weeks. But like there's nothing here. This feels really like it just feels so inconsequential. There's nothing here that feels like it changes character. I cannot actually put my finger on one big character change from the start of this film to the end. And not all films have to take a character through an entire journey, but if you're making a film like this and you have, say, let's say there's half a dozen characters who could be considered an orbiting main character with these parties and the teen life, I really can't say any one of those half dozen feel like they've gone through a change. And I'm not trying to like exaggerate or take the piss. I cannot. I know there is the relationship being affected when Letitia gets with is it Alex, the guy?
It
Yeah.
is Alex, yes.
And then George is the girl who's sort of looking on, and there's some tension there. But again, there's not an actual change for them between the start and the end of the movie. That's it. The people have had sex parties, and that was, you know, a nice summer for them. That's it. I never actually felt any tension or concern for anyone when things did crop up in terms of you know, one or two plot points that could have spun things off in a slightly more dramatic direction. It's dealt with so quickly and easily. I mean, it's just done. It's almost as if Husson kept writing and wanted to bring up something more important or meaningful, then chickened out, but she'd written herself into a corner and then just skipped around that corner and carried on. Did that once or twice and then moved towards the ending. I mean, this doesn't even have the wild interest of teens pushing the boat out a bit further by having guessing games about who's put things up each other's bottoms. That was just reserved for Way or Wage or however you pronounced it. So yeah, this wasn't great. It's just so forgettable, and I just so crushingly nothing. Like it's a vacuum of a film, and I was just annoyed that I had to then find out I'd already watched it 8 years ago. I was like, yeah, of course I've forgotten it. Damn it. Anyway, still love E.T.
I almost completely agree with Kevin. We watch a lot of movies like this, and that's kind of its biggest problem. I've seen this movie 40, 50 times now, and this is not one of the better ones. I mean, sometimes we watch some of these and it's like, wow, that was really good. That had something really firm and strong to say with a great cast. And this is just, I'm going to be fair to the cast. I think they do as well as they can with what they're given, but nothing happens in this movie. The sex isn't good. It's not fun sex to watch. They don't, they're not characters. None of them have thoughts or ideas or anything. They don't change from point A to point B. Nothing happens. For an hour, they decide to have some sex parties. Nothing happens really for another, how long is it? An hour, 98 minutes. So then nothing happens for the next, 38 minutes. It's just, and then they're like, oh, there's consequences that don't really affect them for more than the length of time it takes to get a shot. It's just like, I don't get what it's going for. And on like Kevin, I have seen 2 other films by Eva Husson, and they all kind of have this issue where they seem like they want to say something, but they're just so poorly done that they don't. Like, I guess she's trying to make a comment about, freedom and the stiflingness of suburban life, but like that does not come across at all. These are non-characters doing nothing, and then, having like really tame for a Tyler pick sex. Like I was expecting so much more. Like T. If there's not full on penetration in a Tyler pick, I don't know if I'm watching the right movie.
I've backed myself into a corner of having to have full on penetration in everything I pick now.
They're not everything. No, sometimes it's better that way. But I stopped. I was like, did Tyler really pick this, or am I watching the wrong movie?
I had a horrible flashback then to that like semi-erect penis in Thriller, just pumping away.
And this movie is kind of like a semi-erect penis just thumping away. It doesn't, it's just kind of there.
I mean, there is dick in
It's
this, but it's flaccid.
There is. It is. But there's like nothing really going on. There's not a single character to identify or learn. The only reason I know Alex's name is because they made a big deal about one girl circling it. And I agree. Marilyn Lima and Daisy Broom both do as well as they possibly can with what they're given. The only reason I know Alex's name is because they make a big deal of the blonde circling his name in her journal. But like, why? I don't know. Like, are they trying to say something about like teen culture? Because not really. Not even like an accurate description or view of what's going on in most teen groups around the world these days. They're not nearly as destructive as all these movies want you to think. I mean, it's just a movie that's there. It does nothing. It says nothing. It fills time. But is that enough? The problem is you can say this about all of the director's movies. Girls in the Sun. It's a war movie about women in a combat situation. I can't remember, but it's dreadfully written, poorly directed. It has like its heart's in the right place. It's just not made by a competent filmmaker. Their last film, Mothering Sunday, has the same fucking problem, except they had a lot more money. So it looks nice and it's got a hell of a cast. It's got who's in that one? Colin Firth and Olivia Colman and Emma Darcy. But it's terribly written. It's a nothing story. It is so removed from any kind of emotion that it just really undercuts these actors doing their damnedest to make it work. I really want to support international filmmakers, especially female filmmakers, but so far, man, Eva Husson's just pretty firmly on my skip list if I see her name on stuff. I'm more than open to have my mind changed, but like she's batting 0 for 3 so far.
I think it's summed up best by Tyler having to say there is dick in this, but it's flaccid. I mean, is that what you want, Tyler? Is that your legacy? Is that who you are now? I thought you were better than that, T. I did, but this is where we are.
I'm coming to the rescue, Tyler. I'm coming to save you. I really liked Bang Gang. I really liked this one. I might have liked it. It wasn't a film that we have watched repeatedly in different forms. We have watched it so many times, but this one stood out to me. I connected with this one for a variety of reasons. One of which I had down as a flaw, and I know Dave saw as a flaw, but it's something that I started to see as a virtue when the credits rolled. I'll circle back round to that. I think it's a stronger production than a lot of these movies that Tyler's made us watch. I really like the performances. They felt naturalistic. They felt like real teenagers. Lots of like vapid intensity of emotion. Like everything's all or nothing. There's drama and betrayal and soap opera type emotions. None of it really adds up to very much because they're teenagers. It's a small world. It's not really important, but they give it such importance. They felt really authentic, and I dug that. I love the cinematography. I thought it was really, really hugely atmospheric film. They captured something I don't know, something undefinable from my own teens. This was kind of me a little while. It was drugs, not sex, but we were the Bong Gang rather than the Bang Gang, and I am grateful for that because if I wasn't, I guarantee I'd be immortalised on YouTube on a video called "Epic Boner Fails Volume 12" and ruined my fucking life. So I'm really glad we're this group, but I understand being so horrified by the force of adulthood barreling towards me that I just made very bad, self-destructive, selfish decisions. I get that. It's got a great score. It's got a great soundtrack. It's got really strong rhythmic editing throughout. It has an energy to it. It has the energy of life. It brought everything to life. It really, I don't know. It struck me like on a technical, much stronger than similar movies that Tyler has made us watch for the last. How long is this podcast been going? 20 years, something like that.
Roughly,
yeah,
give or take.
Yeah, something like that. I just thought it was a really well constructed, well made film. But my favorite element, which is where I kind of differ from these guys, these films that Tyler makes us watch, a lot of supremely moralistic, but pretending not to be. Like they want to have their cake and eat it. They're like little tutting voyeurs. They're like, yeah, show you all this sordid shit, but don't worry, we're gonna send them to prison with AIDS and make sure they die. They'll be punished, and I fucking hate that shit. And so when I initially I saw this as a film with no consequences, but looking over the film, I think the filmmaker is overtly stating to young people, but young women particularly, because they get the brunt of these things. I feel like she's saying to them, look, you can fuck up as a teenager. It doesn't need to define you for your whole life. Like you aren't the Scarlet Woman. You repair what can be repaired, and you can move on with your life. Which I think is actually a really valuable thing to say, instead of just having this kind of moralistic beating down of just like Dave said, just kids having sex, quite tame sex, just doing this silly stuff to escape from reality. It doesn't have to, and I don't know. I like that. I related to this. I identify with these kids, and I get the idea that they're not characters, but I think it's perfectly acceptable with a film like this for not be particularly strong characters and just represent a time in people's lives. Being a teenager, being in these situations, and I think they represent that in a real way. I really liked Bang Gang. I was quite shocked by. I thought it was a banger. There you go, team.
Nice. Yeah, so I'm gonna surprise nobody on fucking Earth right now, but I really like this movie a lot as well. I know you can say this for like 95% of my picks on this podcast, but this movie, out of all of them, truly feels heavily Larry Clark inspired. Kind of like Clark decided to direct the pilot episode of the French version of Skins, or, I mean, I don't think it's Kids 2.0, just switching out AIDS for like gonorrhea and syphilis. I've read that in the past, and I don't see that. Aesthetically, this almost feels like it could be a companion piece to something like The Smell of Us, which was Clark's French teen sex movie that we also watched on this podcast. But for me, this never feels like a cautionary tale or a movie made to scare parents until maybe the final 20 minutes, and even then, it's still not. It treats sex.
I feel like sorry.
No,
I feel like it's one of these films where they're not talking. This film isn't talking to parents or people who wants to scare. It's talking to the people, the kind of people who are in the film. They're talking directly to them and not scaremongering.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I took this as well. It just, like I said, it doesn't really, the STD thing doesn't really poke its head until the final 20 minutes. And like I said, sex is treated passionately throughout most of its running time. And what I mean by that there is it never makes it feel ugly or negative. It's elegantly shot. It looks like an
What are you
American
talking
Apparel.
about? That whole 20-minute segment as the parties get bigger is about how ugly it is.
I didn't take it that way. Like maybe it was just the way it was shot, but it's super elegantly shot. It looks like an American Apparel ad. Everything is very pretty and soft focused. So I didn't take it as ugly. I don't know. It never makes the act look ugly. To me, it didn't. And maybe
At
to Craig, it
last
didn't as
party, the whole point is it is. See, that's why I didn't feel the way Craig, and I hate to interrupt, but that's why I don't feel the way Craig did, because I do feel it was especially towards the end. And then he's right. At the end, they go, well, no harm, no foul. But I do think that it is being exactly what he said it isn't during the last party and the aftermath.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see that, but like I said, I fall more on Craig's side with this one because I took it as more how Craig took it exactly. Like the moral voice of STDs, like it doesn't really poke its head into the final act of the movie. It's like a bookend, and it doesn't really like. It's gonna sound really bad, but they don't give them AIDS. They give them like gonorrhea and syphilis, which is like the curable ones. But now if they would have given AIDS, I would have taken it.
But they hand wave AIDS early on in the movie.
Yeah,
like one of them literally says, "Oh, it doesn't matter because if we get AIDS, you can cure it now."
Yeah, which is kind of wrong. I mean, I guess you can't cure AIDS, but you can subside it, I guess. But yeah, it's the whole. We can get into the STD thing later, I guess.
No other podcast has these aside.
We're cancelling the show special. STD special all the way.
Let's do it.
We'll end up having to give ointment to every listener on a weekly basis.
Put a condom on, people. You can pull out too, but that's not a form of birth control.
That's the worst advice.
I've got to say, while we're off on tangents, I've got to say that I do get Craig's point as well about how obviously not every film has to be with teens and sex and doom and gloom. For me, I'm guessing for David, there need to be some more consequences and something to
Sorry, I'm just imagining some random 13-year-old boy who just stumbled on the podcast, but Tyler's giving him the worst sex advice.
Tyler's advice column.
But out.
No, I'm sorry. That's not the worst. That's not the worst.
I did say pulling out isn't a form of birth control.
He did. I mean, he's spot on.
Make sure not to overheat the apple fritter before placing it. So
Dude, when I was that age, my dad walked it 5 a.m. I was watching movies on cable. He comes downstairs. He looks at me and goes, "Don't," and walked away. It took me 10 years to realize that was the sex talk. Okay, it took me years.
Whatever was on your mind at that moment, you just, okay, I guess I won't have a peanut butter sandwich.
I was watching some shit on USA, some 80s sci-fi crap. I don't know.
In America, did you have those magic slates? You know the thing? You sort of draw on them and then you could pull it out and put it in and then the drawing's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Craig, you know what the magic slate is, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't recall what age I was, and I'm sure she'd had a glass of wine or two, but my mum decided to use a magic slate and thinking that was the time to show me the whole birds and bees thing. And I'm sitting there like, no, I don't need this on a magic slate. I've already browsed the Littlewoods catalogue going out. Please, let's just drop this off.
I think it's best on a magic slate or an Etch-a-Sketch. I mean, if
you needed a
podcast
podcast like ours to inform you.
Kids, do not take any medical advice from any of us. Just
I just said Tyler. Oh.
You know what? I would totally watch Tyler give sex talks to schools around the country. I would. This would be fucking amazing.
Rubber up,
explaining
guys.
what you need on hand to deliver a proper donkey punch. Sorry,
Kids,
Keith.
kids, the pre-cum can still get her pregnant. So fucking wear a condom. I don't even know where I left off, to be honest with you, in my review.
Mr. Tyler, what if I get cum on my van? Do you have any advice?
Well, it comes off with baking soda. Not saying,
Okay.
but no, I'm just kidding. Like I said, I don't remember where I left off on this review, to be honest with you. I think it was the cast.
Yeah, you were about to get to the cast.
Okay. Well, I like the cast. I think Marilyn Lima is the standout. She's really good. She was just in a French mermaid movie I watched not that long ago. I can't remember the name of it, but the movie was not good, but she was really good in it. I don't remember the name of the movie. I like Daisy Broom a lot, and the kid who played Gabriel is really good as well. But I'm a fan of the movie. I really like the soundtrack a lot. And as Kevin said, it's a movie that's like right in my wheelhouse. So, I mean, we've watched this 100 times, and I like them all. Or maybe I just like watching mediocre white people fuck. We all have our fetishes, guys.
I mean, that is just kind of the white person fetish. I mean, look at Pornhub.
It's true.
Is that
me
it?
doing,
Are you done?
yeah, that was
I mean,
it.
no.
Yeah.
I'll do. Bring me the head of Alfredo
Okay.
Garcia.
Yeah.
It is
Go for it.
my turn. Directed by Sam Peckinpah and co-written with Gordon Dawson, starring Warren Oates and Ilza Vega. It is the story about a Mexican crime lord's daughter is knocked up, and he puts a $1 million bounty on whoever will bring him the head of the culprit, Alfredo Garcia. 2 months later, in Mexico City, a pair of disillusioned hitmen stumble into the bar of retired U.S. Army officer Bennie, and they make Bennie an offer. Bennie learns that his girlfriend, Elita, just spent 3 days in the sexy company of Alfredo Garcia, and Alfredo has since passed. And that's the bones of the start of Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. I love this movie. I adore Sam Peckinpah's films, almost all of them. I like his absolute hate and disdain for humanity. It speaks to me in a way that few other filmmakers do. I hadn't seen this in a long time. I had seen it before, but it had been. I mean, it's got to be pushing a good 15 or more years since I've seen it, and it is really good. Warren Oates is absolutely excellent as Bennie. Ilsa Vega is really good as Elita. The rest of the cast is fine. Emilio Fernandez plays El Jefe, the crime boss, and Emilio Fernandez is one of the most prolific of Mexico's golden age of cinema, which was the 1950s. He made Maria Candelera in like 1945. That is excellent. Is an absolutely fantastic actor and filmmaker that just I don't think he gets enough credit in the States. So I figured I would take a second to lift him up. He wrote, directed, and starred in The Faithful Soldier of Pancho Villa, which is also a solid one. He was in Peckinpah's The Wild Bunch, Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, as well as this one. Just a fantastic actor and a solid filmmaker who you should definitely look into when you get a little time. where I went off my
You
head.
tangented.
I tangented. Yeah, no, Amanda is excellent. Chris Christopherson and his longtime keyboardist and I believe occasional song co-writer Danny Fritz show up as bikers. How's that for a deep cut? It's really good. It is a solid, hard as nails, gritty neo noir set in 1973. I love all the cars in it. I love
The most
how they
beat up cars I've ever seen in my life.
every single one of them is falling apart. There's no car in good shape. I adore it. I know, like some folks, I've heard folks argue that there's nowhere for the plot to go because for some reason they want to more align themselves with Garcia, but I don't think Garcia should be a character. This is very much about one man's journey into what he will do to get out of his situation and what he will do when pushed to an extreme, which is what Peckinpah did. I mean, those were Peckinpah's movies. That's what Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid is about. That's what oh crap, Straw
Wild
Dogs
Bunch.
is about. Yeah. I mean, it's what like all of his fucking movies are about. What you will do when you're pushed to an extreme. I adore it. It's a really good one. I mean, I guess maybe the Ballad of Cable Hogue isn't about that. That might be the lone man out. But I mean, even The Getaway is about that.
Love that film.
That's a good one. I know. Like he made some good fucking movies. But he definitely had a theme he liked to work on. Even his yeah, I think even Killer Elite's about that. I haven't seen that in a while, so I could be wrong. And I've never seen Convoy, so Convoy might be uplifting. It's about a convoy, so fuck yeah. But yeah, no, I love Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, and it's a shame on me that I didn't get to it before now for a rewatch.
You want to go T or do you want me to go?
I can go real quick.
Okay.
Yeah. This movie is a fucking masterpiece. It feels so ahead of its time, yet the phrase "they don't make them like this anymore" feels so perfect for this particular movie. I don't usually like to use that phrase, but it just feels so right here. It's such a grimy, sweaty, dusty piece of 70s nihilism. It's drenched in fucking self-loathing that only Sam Peckinpah could achieve. I mean, that man, for all the issues that he had personally, he's such a wonderful filmmaker. You can feel the deep hatred he has for everything just running through every single fucking frame of this film. It's a beautiful thing. And just another huge reason why I love Peckinpah and just 70s cinema in general. I love the 70s. I love the cast. Warren Oates is amazing here. Isla Vega, Robert Webber, everyone is so fucking good in this movie. It's violent. This is the second week in a row with a movie that uses slow motion masterfully. It has this super, super dark sense of humor running throughout. Everything feels hopeless and run down. Like Dave said, everything's just nasty. The cars, the town, everything is just run down and nasty looking. It's hyper masculine in the most Peckinpah way ever. The whole movie just feels like a culmination of everything Peckinpah has made prior rolled into one movie. It's fucking fantastic stuff, and I loved it. Great, great movie.
Well, I mean, on the one hand, I'm tempted to agree with both Dave and Tyler, and on the other hand, I'm still mulling over a lot of this film. I didn't dislike it. First of all, it's a difficult one to process. Like even you can't accuse Peckinpah of being a happy-go-lucky filmmaker. Like he does bleak stuff, and it's quite misanthropic. It's quite pessimistic, I would say. But Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia basically starts with a pregnant woman being dragged in front of her father and then having her arm broken to give up details, and somehow keeps sort of moving from there to what seems to be worsening and worsening situations for different characters. It's a hell of an endurance test. And like, if it wasn't Warren Oates being so damn likable, despite the flaws of his character as Bennie, it would be even tougher to stick with. I do like it though. I think it's one that I'll maybe get even more from on a rewatch. I don't know if there are or if there were different versions. It feels like a film that could have had any number of slightly different episodes in there. Is sort of, you notice that obviously with there's the scene with Christopherson and his companion, that even when Oates and Vega get to a main location where they think their quest or journey will end, that feels like there could have been a couple of different things around there. There are just all these moments that feel like they could have another 2 or 3 moments around them. And I don't know if that's just because of Peckinpah trying to fit so much in, or whether he already made decisions to, excise a lot of material. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point there was like a 4-hour cut of this. I mean, and this is where Dave goes, yeah, actually it was 3.5 hours. And have you read the book? No, you ignorant heathen. You should. It's a lot better.
Well, I know that you haven't, but I don't think that there's no book. This is a Peckinpah original.
But do you have any idea on sort of any alternate cuts or other versions of this, Dave?
Not of any alternate cuts that I know of off the top of my head. Apparently this is one of the few that Peckinpah got out how he wanted it.
It was the only one where he had Final Cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, like I read up on that as well, and I was just again, it just felt a bit surprising because it's almost like I can't remember it's almost like a flow chart of a film, and there's so many different branching options all the way through, which is good in a way, but it's like Peckinpah's like, oh, there's so many ways this could go. Here's the bleakest, and he does that every turn. I'm like, oh, just let someone have a margarita and relax for 2 minutes. Peckinpah's like, no, this person needs to go through some more shit. It's tough. It's really tough, and there's no, like, I admire it for that sheer amount of toughness. Like, there's no satisfaction in this at any point. Nothing that happens feels as if it's going for the standard cinematically satisfying way of things panning out. And I don't mean that as a criticism. I just mean, like, you have to work hard at that, considering the structure of the story here. And as I said, Warren Oates being a really good personable lead to accompany along the way. It's almost like an exercise in sustained, just it's not, I don't know, the word isn't pessimism. There's something else I'm wanting to reach for, but I'm failing. But that kind of makes it a great film to watch, but also makes it such a challenge that I'm still mulling it over. And as I say, I would like happily rewatch this. So it's not something I've watched and thought, right, I can never sort of go through that again. It's just it's almost like adjusting to what is being presented to you, because it's it's a hell of an achievement. And like even for Peckinpah, with the stuff that he has given us on film over the years, and we covered Straw Dogs on the podcast, didn't we, at one point?
We did.
Yep.
Remember? Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's a dark and complex film. This, this is in a very different way. It's got moments that are comparable to some of the notes from that. I'm glad you made me finally watch, Craig. I'm glad you got to take it off your shelf as well. I'm really, I'm struggling to fully process it, and I think maybe another viewing, now that I'm a bit more prepared for what it delivers, will be necessary.
I did think of a book reference to Alfredo Garcia.
You're too late. There is no book reference, Dave. No.
There's a series. There's a
we've
book
moved on
series
from reading corner.
Okay.
Go on.
Urban horror fantasy series called Sandman Slim. That was I don't know if it's still going. I only read like the first one or two. I wasn't huge into them, by Richard Kadri. And Sandman Slim's sidekick is a severed head named Alfredo Garcia.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, okay. It's my pick. This I love as Dave and Tyler, but in another way I feel like it's a completely different film, which I'll get to in a minute. First time watch. I've seen The Getaway. I've seen Wild Bunch. I've seen Straw Dogs. I love them all. And I read the synopsis to this, and I was like, the reason I've sat on this DVD for maybe like this Blu-ray for about 8 years, possibly. Like I thought it could be my absolute favourite Peckinpah, or it could be my first disappointment. I didn't want that, but no, it's the former. This is my fave Peckinpah. There's no disappointment. I'll leave that to the Killer Elite or the Osterman weekend at some point. They can disappoint me. This did not. It feels really weird seeing it now after tonight, but it was kind of beautiful. I mean, just not as expected. Like first off, like Peckinpah, I don't know what his politics were, but I would assume capital C, because he's quite an angry kind of dude. And I've spent.
You cut out. You gotta repeat that.
Sorry.
Politics were, and then you.
I assume Peckinpah's politics were conservative with like a capital C. I assume his politics were not pleasant. I just get that vibe, and conservatives have been like shitting on Mexico for as long as I can remember. Villainizing Mexico. So I was surprised. There seemed to be a sort of affection for Mexico and the Mexican people in this. He seemed to have more of a problem with the Americans in Mexico, like, dregs of humanity, like playing out the last string, or, degenerates just hopping over to do at home. Like, he seems to have a real problem with Americans fucking up Mexico, which it was, just a surprising little twist. But what really grabbed me in this film was it was the humanity of it. Like, I feel like for a film that concludes with like a dark night of the soul with a severed head for me, Like the depth of humanity is a huge fucking surprise. It's to me it was a philosophical film about humanity, like where it's found, where it's lacking, how you can deplete it, how you can have it taken from you, and how do you keep hold of your humanity in difficult times. Like the first 2/3, there's constant stark contrast between, you know, the task in hand, which is pretty fucking horrific, and then all of these like really tender and like intensely fucking vulnerable moments between Bennie and Elita. Like I didn't expect this sort of vulnerability Peckinpah, and I found some of those moments really moving. Get into that final third, and it didn't feel angry. It just felt like this mournful fucking funeral march into the fucking grave. It just felt so sad, and I did not expect to feel. I was not prepared for how much heart this film has, and how much it was kick me in mine. Like, oh, it was just so much more emotional than expected. Like, the cast are really good. Like, supporting cast are really, really strong. They all do like first dead-eyed villainy. They like every single one of the like, you know, American. When he walks into that office with all the American, when God damn it, what's his name? Main character, Bennie. When Bennie walks into their office, they're all such like dead-eyed psychopaths. I really love film crime being taken over in a kind of business-like way, and they do that really. But like, what's his goddamn name again?
Bennie. Like, there's a stark contrast there between, you know, all these fucking American killers for hire, and like Bennie's humanity is like really in contrast to all of those characters. Really, really done. But yeah, those two performances are what sold it to me. Like Isela Vega, I don't think anything else. She's so soulful and tender. Those really heartbreaking performance. And Warren Oates, fuck, I love Warren Oates. He's the definition of louche, you know, just the ultimate in like deadbeat charm. He can be the biggest loser on the face of the earth, but you still kind of admire him. It's a weird thing that not many people can pull off, but Warren Oates pulls it off like so perfectly. And I just their relationship was really touching and them so strong. Like it reminded me a little bit of the central relationship in Thief, because it's not some grand, you know, like parts of it feel almost transactional, like two people agreeing upon a deal late in life, two wounded people just sort of agreeing on this transactional thing, and it just feels a bit more grounded, and it develops in a really interesting, really heartfelt way. And yeah, I fucking loved it. I'm expecting to get all misty-eyed watching Alfredo Garcia, but it's pretty much a masterpiece in my eyes, and it's definitely my favorite Peckinpah. I loved it. I really, 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 really loved it. That was a good pick, Craig. Well done, Craig. But yeah, love this one. It's time to pick one.
We're going to let T go last, because that's some real juice to the episode. I'm going with Alfredo Garcia.
Same. Going with Alfredo Garcia.
Yes, I am also going with Alfredo Garcia.
Oh, wow. You know what? I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I feel like giving it the Peckinpah this week.
I mean, you know,
I loved Bang Gang, but you know, Peckinpah, he's a fucking legend. So
I was typing out a text to your dad about having you get committed if you said anything else. So let me just delete this real quick.
Remember, I voted against my own pick the last time there was a Peckinpah movie picked, because I picked Straw Dogs over the Jason Biggs one. So
You're right. You're right. You did pick
Yeah.
Straw Dogs over Loser. Which
did.
What an
also
episode.
well, they were both college based.
They were.
Both super rapey
Yeah,
in their own ways.
that's true. Next week, it's me and Kevin, and I am going with the 2021 Chinese crime drama Streetwise, also known as Gay War, which
Oh,
means street
I have that
kid.
on Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray. Thank you very much.
Well, I figured you did. It's one of the reasons why I broke the tie in my head. It was either that or I was thinking about oh crap, the lake under the Loon Lake. I can't remember now. I am old and my brain does not work. What do you got for us, Kevin?
I am bringing us something from Japan, I think. 2001 film called St. John's Wort.
Okay.
I believe it was released on the Arrow Video J Horror Rising box set, I think. So it could be on the Arrow player, could be dotted around.
It was on Shudder last time I was on there.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, they did pick up a few, so might still be on there.
Yeah, it's got a slightly different Japanese name, but yeah, that one's all over the place, including Shudder. Nice. Well, Craig, since you won, do you want to give him the bidness or do you want to defer?
I don't know the bid. I still don't know the business. I don't know. I will go. I will do it next week.
All right, T, give him the bid.
We're on Instagram, Raiders_of_the_podcast. We're on Facebook, where I sometimes remember to post stuff on Wednesdays, and I can teach you how to pull out properly. We have a YouTube channel where you can like, subscribe, and comment on Kevin's awesome videos weekly. We have a Discord, we have a Blue Sky, and you can always email us at raidersofthepodcast@gmail.com.
Someone's going to have to send me the business so I can razz. And we're close.
You know,
we do Facebook sometimes and the Instagram.
Well, Tyler's just so chipper when he does it that, you know, he gets to do it more than anyone else. And I forget.
Yeah.
I have this shit memorized down.
He does. It took him 100 episodes to do it, but now he's got it down. As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll talk to you next week.
Catch you next week.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.